We are back with another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast. And the name kind of explains everything. We're giving you advice based on everything we did wrong the first time. Well, at least everything I did wrong the first time. Each week I bring on founders, investors, product experts, technology futurists, sales gurus, just about anyone who is very smart and can help us work out how to build a great business. And then together, we answer the questions about what's going on in your lives and in your businesses. Sometimes we answer emails people have sent in, sometimes we find them on Reddit, but really we just find the real problems going on in your business. And just a good point here, the guests have never seen these questions before, so they're hearing it live for the first time just like you are. But if you have any questions that you want us to help answer, if you've got files you're trying to put out right now, send those through and we're going to workshop them. So send them through to podcast@joelditrapani.com. That is a long, difficult to spell name, so I'm going to put that in the show notes and you can just copy and paste it later. I'm your host, Joel DiTrapani. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Vigo, which is an edtech scale-up. We've grown it through Australia and the UK, and we're now focused on the US. On top of that, I'm also an advisor and a coach in the product space where I help startups and businesses learn how to run great product teams, because that is the secret to building great products. And today, I'm super excited to be joined by Matt Domo, one of the founders of AWS. That is right, Matt created the world's first cloud computing database and the entire database as a service market category, which has generated billions or maybe hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue. And that is just one of Matt's accolades. Matt's actually spent his entire career in technology, leading teams and boards at some of the biggest companies in the world, including, of course, Amazon, but also Microsoft, Verizon, and a whole lot more. Currently, Matt is the CEO and digital strategy expert at Fifth Vantage, where he helps clients modernize, innovate, and grow by implementing digital strategies, technologies, and processes that reduce time to market and create business speed, agility, and reliability. If you want advice, probably trust the guy that built AWS. But outside of this, Matt is also incredibly generous with his time and is constantly giving back to founders and helping grow the startup ecosystem in Austin. Matt is an absolute expert at everything technology and how it should work in any business. So let's jump into it. Welcome, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, thank you, Joel. What an endorsement you gave me right out of the gate, and I didn't even give you $1 or anything to do it. It was pretty good.
Don't worry, I'll send the invoice through afterwards. Well, Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about Fifth Vantage?
Yeah, so my team and I are a collection of ex-Amazon, Microsoft, and a few folks from Symantec. We built very large products from the ground up. Like when I started the database division, there was less than a handful of people. And we grew these products, defined them, built them, scaled the team, marketed them, all the things you may imagine, to extremely large size. We all have substantial exits after our tenures at those companies. So, ranging from 600 million to 6.4 billion. We work with typically, what I tell people is you're buying expertise. We have a playbook. We know what works. But more importantly, we also tell you the stuff that nobody talks about, which is this is what doesn't work. And, we work with clients to help them achieve their goals and integrate new digital technologies like AI and edge computing and truly designing cloud native, how to architect for rapid scale, how to really refine your engineering processes from the time product gives you an idea till the time the code's a value in production, how to shorten that time, make it better, faster, smarter, and more efficient. We've helped several companies go public. We are helping 4 through hypergrowth right now. We're seeing high demand from mid-market, so several hundred million on up through the Fortune 500 for our AI services. So that's it in a nutshell. Teams here in Austin, and we're pretty much all over the United States. So that's it.
Wow. Exits from $600 million at the bottom end.
Yeah, I'm the slacker. There's one of my guys who has a 6.4 billion exit, and I'm like, okay, that's good.
Well, if you want to buy certainty, Fifth Vantage might be the right place to go. That's nuts. Well, let's use some of that advice now. So let's jump into some of these challenges here.
Okay.
All right. The first challenge is called, is building in generative AI too risky right now? With models constantly evolving and supporting new use cases, small startups are constantly pivoting to doing newer things in AI. It's only a matter of time before these new use cases are supported by the existing models. My question is, how does a small company keep up to speed with the cash crunch? It's a really chaotic time in AI right now. What are your thoughts? This is from Shell of Nutshell.
That's a great name, by the way.
It is a great name. Normally I'm the one complimenting the names. You're the first guest to actually compliment these names. I love them.
I love the creative names. It's awesome. Okay, that's a very loaded question, by the way. And it's multi-part. So the first was, what do you think of generative AI? And the second was, there's many changing parts. How do I kind of keep abreast of that? And the third is, I'm a startup. Resources are precious. How do I put the right points on the board? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, look, generative AI, is it too early? No. However, you have to be very, in my opinion, I'm going to give you for what it is. There are many, many different use cases for this. The key is to be very focused on what you're trying to do initially. So if you're working with a customer, let's say they're trying to build a knowledge base and you're trying to automate the knowledge base, right? The content generation, access to the content. Be very focused and pick a subset of that content that you're going to generate and build the periphery around it and, get to an MVP quickly. What are you going to do out of that? One, you're going to learn. And you're going to learn how well the customer knows their data, right? Because this is the biggest challenge is what's the fidelity, the cleanliness, the access to the data in the customer's environment? Because that's a key piece. And the second thing, you're going to learn how they operate, how they work, how quickly they move, how they can operate and manage this, etc. And then the third thing you're going to learn is kind of the prompting around it, right? I talked about a knowledge base. I just picked one use case, but I'm doing it purposefully, right? So if you're going to build automated access to a knowledge base that says, hey, I'm going to ask you these 5 questions and out of which is going to come the most relevant document for my answer, the building the LLM around that is definitely a challenge. You have to tune it, you have to refine it, and you have to train it. And where's that training going to come from? Twofold: data that you pulled in through the test process. And the second thing is the prompt engineering that you put on the front end, right? The more natural but precise kind of language that you can draw into the funnel to identify, that's it. And that all sounds great. You're going to pull your hair out. Start small, be focused, and then expand once you learn. Once you learn the key parts that drive enough value where people using it, then you start to see patterns and expand it. In terms of the LLM question, and by the way, just say, Matt, that's enough. You could stop anytime you want. Just say it.
No, mate, this is great.
Okay, look, an LLM, right? Are general purpose LLMs getting better? Yes. Are they raw still? Yes. Is it great to use an open source LLM? I would say the answer is yes. Why? Because I don't want all the big cloud providers owning everything. I don't think that's right. But the challenge is tuning the LLM to the customer's environment. You're going to get eventually to, idealistically, maybe a 60% case over the next few years. But if you start thinking about what you need to do in a customer's environment to automate all the different accesses to an authoritative source of reference of in the knowledge base, that's going to take years to tune. And by the way, that's unique to that customer's environment. So, I think I hit it. I think we talked about being focused, starting small, expanding, learning, delighting the customer, pulling them along on the journey, keep putting points on the board, and go forward.
Yeah.
Now, I told you, people tell you what to do, what don't do. Don't boil the ocean. Don't try to turn this into a grandiose vision where the customer feels like you're solving all the world's problems. You can't, you won't. You can paint a vision of, hey, over the next few years, we can get there, but only after you've provided some tangible value that had some high return with low risk. Start there, get them excited, and then move. But don't try to paint them into some multi-year thing where you promise the heaven, the moon, the stars, and you're nowhere near delivering it. They'll be upset, you'll fail, and you'll spend a lot of time and money, and that's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah. I think that is some really great context, and some very good advice there. But I think the only thing I'd add here, Matt, is this is the perfect time to be building in generative AI. It's so early. This is like such a massive technological shift, and there are going to be a ton of billion-dollar businesses built that were started now and started over the next year. So capitalize on this wave. You are so early, and that's amazing. And that means that there is risk, but there's always risk in a startup. If you start building for mobile right now, there's still risk, it's just because it's even more crowded space. So startups are risky, but the startups that can execute and can roll with the punches and can adapt with this changing landscape, they're the ones that are going to win. But if you wait too long, if you're I'm going to wait 5 years and wait to see what's out there, you're not going to be able to build something with generative AI.
No, in 5 years, if you've waited that long, you won't be here. The market will. I think you have a 2-year turkey timer. If you're talking about building a unicorn, the 1 billion plus, I think you have about a 2-year runway. Those that are smart, add value, consistently deliver, and move really quickly are going to establish their brand, build authority, and they're going to create a moat, and it's going to be hard for people to catch up. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah.
Those people who pick out the right things, you have a 2-year turkey timer, because everybody knows that this is a golden goose. And so everybody's chasing it.
All right. Well, let's close this one out here. I'm going to bring this to a final judgment, Matt. You can tell me if I missed something important here. So first thing is, it is not too early. It's the perfect point in time. You have 2 years. So get going now before this wave passes you by. The second thing is that it is going to be risky, but every startup is risky. So you have to be in a position where you can roll with the punches. And then the third thing, very importantly, is that you need to start small and start focused, and then you need to stay focused. So don't, as Matt says, try and boil the ocean. Don't just say, we're doing generative AI. Find a real problem and a real use case that you can solve in this space, and then use the technology to just make that so much fucking better for your customers. And then build on and build on and build on. But just don't go too big. Don't be a generative AI company. Be a problem company and use this as a tool to solve that for you.
Well, beautifully said.
Thank you, Matt. See, now I gave you that compliment, all that great that intro, so you can give me compliments all the way through. Kind of, it always works itself out for me. My ego's still going to grow after this.
It was great. There's that app that summarizes books, and I mean, wow, you could build your own equivalent.
I'll do my own Blinkist. I like it. All right. Well, we'll close that one out. So, shell of a nutshell, you have been advised. And we'll move to the next challenge here. So, this challenge is called, how do you stay up to date with the new technological shifts? This is something I was super excited to ask you, Matt, because for a long time, you've had to do this. Something that I've noticed about tech advancements and companies associated with it are that many of these companies seem to have been working on new technology as soon as shifts in their respective fields occur. For example, OpenSeas was made soon after NFTs were used, much before the average person would hear it on the news. So my question is, how do you keep up with all of these things, all these shifts, and what outlets do you use to learn about all of this stuff? From Potential Geologist 1.
It's another good name.
It is.
Potential Geologist, which is mean they're still working on it. Okay. Look, you have to be a voracious learner. So, if you want to keep abreast of new technologies, you want to have the passion, desire, focus, and strength to do it. And what do I mean by strength? You're going to be running your startup. You're going to be running really hard on what you're doing, but you're still going to have to pop your head up and meet people in the community. You know, one of the things I learned the hard way, I was an entrepreneur. I knew tons of people in Microsoft and Amazon. When I went to move on from those places, that network wasn't as great. And so I was abreast of all the technology because I was at the forefront, talked with my customers, did all of that. But, you know, that opened some, you know, avenues for it. But read articles, listen to podcasts like Joel's. Look up YouTube videos. By the way, YouTube's a big deal. There's lots of really cool, useful stuff out there. Watch a YouTube video. Guess what? We're out of the pandemic. Go have a cup of coffee with someone and say, hey, you know, you look like you're doing something pretty cool. I just want to learn from you. You know, and out of that, you're going to start seeing patterns emerge. And so that's when you start making decisions on, okay, there's like 20 million things, but what are the 5 that I really need to kind of learn and go deep on, and spend your time there. And then the other part is get hands-on. So here's where I see a lot of people make mistakes with cutting edge technology. Brand X, Google uses it. It's got to be good for us. Oh, Microsoft uses that. That's got to be good for us. Is it really? You know, maybe they had success with it, but is it successful with your business? So, you know, that I've seen a lot of people fall prey to that. And so, you know, my message is build your own objective scorecard. Lay out your criteria of what's relevant to your business, your long-term employees, how you recruit people, how you maintain it, whatever that list is, and then do a bake-off and get hands-on with it. You know, people that do that more often than not make the right long-term choices. And the people that don't and just say, hey, you know, Alex is super passionate about this framework. We should do it. You know, 10,000 companies are on that, you know, on that vein, you know, that may not be there. So like really take the time. Sometimes you got to slow down to go fast. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I think, you know, I say this quite a bit and I'm just going to repeat myself again, which is that the problem needs to come first. You know, your business won't just be successful because you use a technology. A technology is in service of solving a real problem for someone who's willing to pay for it over and over and over and over again. So absolutely focus on problem first. Don't just use brand X that Google uses because Google uses it. Look into it. See if it serves a purpose, you know, see if it solves the problem that you're trying to solve. So always keep that there. Then I guess, you know, the second thing is, I think you've got to stay really open. I go through phases where I feel like I'm on top of technology and other times where I feel like I'm behind, and it's because I get closed off because I think I know what the right technology is. But if you need to constantly stay open, because if you're not open, you're gonna miss. You might miss it, okay? And you might say like, no, that AI thing, who knows? That's just a fad. It's probably not. Like, be open. You know, these things might not be fads. So, and then I totally echo what you're saying, Matt, which is just put yourself into situations where you get to learn about them. Either become obsessed with technology, so you're constantly reading everything you can, or become obsessed with people, so you're meeting the people who are obsessed with technology. Or do both, you know, like I love YouTube, and I'm going to shout out Matt Wolf. Matt Wolf, I believe, is the top, best, most fun AI influencer in the world. He creates amazing stuff. He's always talking about the most up-to-date research, the most up-to-date AI. Like, find people you like, find sources you like, and then have these conversations. So one thing I do is that I just meet together with a group of my friends that are obsessed with technology once a month. And we all talk about, hey, here's what I learned. We're covering the bases. We're sharing we love it, so it's fun, but we're also sharing the burden of looking at fun stuff. And we all bring stuff to the table.
I agree with you. You know, like you, I think you're saying it, you know, you have to have multiple sources of information to figure out and distill what's relevant to you. But what I really loved is, we both said, don't be an entrepreneur. Like, look, you're building your own brand new technology product that nobody's done. Guess what? It's a lonely world. And it can be because, no one really, they think you're a mad scientist and you're starting with, this concoction and nobody understands what it is. And you got to go figure it out. The more doors you knock on, the more people you liaise with, the more things that you start to learn, refine, get clear on, the faster you're going to be able to move. And so I think that's we kind of both hit it on that. I think.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to bring this one to a close for potential geologists. Here's the summary. Just stay open. That's the most important thing. Stay open and to anything that could be there. Second is put yourself into situations where you're being exposed to more and more and more information in the space, whether it's the articles or podcasts or YouTube or people. Go to events, have coffee with people, and just increase your surface area. And lastly, I'm just going to hammer it home again. Technologies should serve the problem that you're solving. It shouldn't be the other way around. You shouldn't find a cool technology, then build a problem out of it. Find the problem first and use the technology to serve that purpose.
I agree with you. Just because you build it doesn't mean they'll come.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, potential geologists, you have been advised, and we'll move on. All right. This question. This is probably our last question. So I'm super excited to get your thoughts on this one, Matt. So this is called, what emerging technology or trend is flying under everyone's radar? I'm working on a new VC investment thesis, and I'm arguing that 20% of the fund should go towards edge cases. However, in today's world, it's hard to discover something revolutionary, as the instant anything interesting is mentioned online, it goes viral in 23 milliseconds. However, I think that if you told someone in a decade ago that two of the most significant shifts in the next decade would be hotels, disrupted by Airbnb, and transportation, disrupted by Uber and Lyft, they might have laughed off those suggestions. WeWork has gone from a wacky real estate concept, went from a wacky real estate concept to the biggest accounting scam in recent memory. Sorry, my snark is strong when it comes to that company. Obviously, that's these person's words, that's not my words.
That's good. I love it.
Obviously, everyone is still focused on AI and ML, aka statistics, VR, augmented reality, etc. But I wonder, is there something a bit more obvious staring us in the face that I'm not thinking of? This is from .bombvc.
Okay, that's also another big question. This is one that we probably should be sitting in a bar and having some scotch over, to be honest.
Well, maybe we should. That can be another episode. We'll record next time in a bar.
I'm game. You guys will figure out how to contact me. You say there's scotch, I'll probably show up. Okay. One is a time horizon. Look, Airbnb, let's pick on Airbnb. That thing wasn't born overnight, right? So, one, you have to pick of your time horizon in which you're going to, let's say, what's worth betting on. Okay, and I'm going to pick on one to show you because there's extremes here. One I would bet on, if I was willing to wait 5-10 years, I'd bet on quantum. Okay, right. There is amazing things you can do with quantum, and there's even more amazing things that we can't yet. Why? Because they haven't figured out the easy button yet. You go to a developer and try to explain qubits and their head will explode. You go and explain ChatGPT, which was, there's an app for that moment of AI, because that's what it is. It's a marketing app. It was ingenious. Yeah. Most ingenious one ever invented. But what did it do? It accelerated an entire industry. There's lots of people working on quantum, deep pockets. It's required, it's expensive, the economics are dropping. The people that kind of figure out how to pull the easy button on that one, it's going to accelerate a lot. Like, okay, AI is super power intensive. What happens if you ran AI on top of quantum? Now start thinking about what you can do. Right?
Yeah.
And so So that's a long-term time horizon. And some people don't have the gumption temperament for the risk for that. That's totally fine. If your risk reward return window is like 2 years, then you hit the nail on the head in some of our last discussions. Find something that's solving a tangible problem that has wide applicability and has done it simply, easily, and reliably, and knows how to move. Those are companies worth investing in, right? So, there's this whole AI thing is going to transform places. Don't just run around and sprinkle pixie dust on everybody that has an AI checkbox. AI there's 6 different types of AI right now, by the way. 90% of humanity doesn't even understand that. So like, don't just have the fear of missing out checkbox. Really vet them. Look at them and say, hey, they've picked out a niche and they have figured out how to make it better, smarter, faster, whatever it is, to get people wildly excited about using it because it makes their life better. You can find those, and a lot of those are going to start emerging, and that's a 2 to 3 year horizon, and those are worth investing. So we covered kind of both of the spectrum there.
Yeah. Look, I just think to be honest, I'm just so blinded by AI. Like, the opportunity here is just so incredible that I'm not even thinking about like what are the other things that I'm missing. But I also I don't even necessarily agree with the way this question's written. Like, they've said,
it's super loaded.
Like, they said, if you asked 10 years ago, people wouldn't have expected that like the 2 biggest changes would be like real estate and transport. I don't even think that's true. Like, the change that happened was mobile. Mobile was then applied really, really effectively to solve existing problems.
And cloud together. Mobile and cloud together.
Yeah. Mobile and the industry Matt created together.
I was part of that.
So like, the technology shift then allowed you to solve new problems. And like mobile and cloud were things that unlocked that. And right now, I think, there's been this huge unlock. AI, it's still early. And like you said, Matt, we've got this 2-year timer, but we need people now to find those massive problems that can now be unlocked, that haven't been able to be unlocked before, that can think about it in a new way. And so quantum is a good one. I didn't think about that, but I'm just so blinded to AI. So I don't even have a good answer to this. I just think like, AI is the thing, that's what's going to fucking change stuff. So find the problems that AI can just radically shift.
Yeah, I think we're coming at skinning the cat from different ways, but like, look, the time horizon's like super important, right? Yeah. The longer the time horizon, the more risk you take. By the way, the most transformative things, they have long time horizons. So it really, because the guy said his name, or a person said their name was a VC. I don't know if they are or just whatever. But there is the time to when you need to see a return. I always tell people we move quickly. And have you ever seen the state of Missouri's license plate?
No.
It says, show me. I advise a lot of companies and I say, I'm a show me state executive. Show me what's going to happen. Show me what you're going to do. How are you thinking about this? Like I said, if you pick out a small number of problems and you do them well and you move fast and you learn and adapt and you start carving out something that becomes super useful, that people are like, wow, that changed my productivity. Those are the things that are going to emerge right now. And then they're going to spawn other things that people didn't think of. And they're like, wow, that was cool. I think I could take that and go do this. And that's just how it takes off.
Right. Well, I'm going to bring this one to a close too. We're going to give a final judgment to Dot-Bomb VC. It sounds like if you're looking at a long horizon, Matt's really excited about quantum, and there's just the amount of potential there, especially because of AI and how kind of power intensive that is. And then from my side, I just don't have a good answer here. Like, I don't know what the unobvious things are, but I just know that AI is so obvious and it's staring you in the face, and that is the technology shift that you should be aware of and excited about and investing in. All right, well, that's all we have time for questions. So we're going to come to the very last stage of the show, or the very last segment of the show, and that's plugs. So tell me, Matt, what's going on? What would you like to plug? What would you like to talk about?
Oh, wow, that's a really great question. When you asked me what my company is, so I already told you that. I think we hit on some really great ideas. Really, which is, how do I start, grow, and get big? I have personally, I write a bunch of different things, and I'm not selling anything. I'm just here sharing ideas. So I have a monthly newsletter on LinkedIn. That's kind of like, let's think about stuff out of the box, long-term, futuristic, but boil it down into some practical things. Then I post like ideas on LinkedIn to say, like, look, I kind of read this. This is pretty interesting. Here's 5 things we should probably think about. Let's have a discussion. And then the other thing is, look, I was approached by Newsweek and Fast Company a few years ago. As you probably figured out, I'm a geek. I'm not a writer. I kind of it's me and Grammarly. I write my own articles, but I take a lot of care and curate what I write. And so they want me to write about digital strategy and trends. And, I talk to a lot of people every week. And so, I use that as an avenue to kind of also spawn ideas of, like, look, this year, these might be 5 things you might want to take a deep look at. And so those are my plugs. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I hope you get value out of, what I'm producing, and hopefully it helps you in your business, because that's what I'm up to. I at this point, it's about, I had some people help me, and it made a big difference in my personal and professional life. So if the stuff I'm writing and putting out there helps you, that would be awesome. So that's it.
I love it. We'll put links to all of that in the show notes too. So click on those. Check out Fifth Vantage and check out Matt's content. It is very quality content. And look at what he's done. He knows what he's talking about. And look what he said today. This advice has been so good. So you just get more and more and more of that, with even more intention behind that, which is what goes into it. Another thing on Matt's side that I would just like to plug is that Matt is an incredibly friendly guy. So if you have questions, he's happy to chat. If you go to his LinkedIn page, you can just book a free time with him and just hang out with him. So Matt loves having these conversations. He loves meeting new people. So if you got questions or you just want to talk to the founder of AWS, Matt is, I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, Matt, but you're just a super friendly guy and you're always happy to chat with everyone.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, life's too short. Think about it this way. If we all did one act of kindness once a week, and help somebody, think through something, think about how much innovation, think how much better the world is. And that's why I'm like, look, if you want to talk something, drop me a line. If I can, I'll help you.
Love it. Awesome, mate. Well, look, on my side, if you've got questions, write in, send them through to podcast@joeldtrapani.com, and we'll workshop them on a show with another guest. And then also, pull out your phone right now. Go to YouTube, press subscribe, go to Spotify, press download, 5 stars, all of the good stuff, And then as always, I'm going to say this in every episode forever. I totally condone stealing phones if you're just going to like and subscribe on their phone. So go steal a phone, like and subscribe on their phone, and then give it back, because, they're going to love listening to the podcast too. And look, if you want to chat with me too, if you want to ask me any questions about the show or product challenges going on in your business, hit me up too. I've got a booking link in the show notes. I'll put that there. I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love meeting you guys. And that's it. Matt, mate, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a whole lot of fun. Your insights were amazing, and this was just a really fun conversation for me.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. It was a great format. I really loved it. Your energy is super awesome, and your enthusiasm of helping founders, and innovators, what a great way to do it. So kudos to you.
Wow, I'm going to clip that one and put that one straight on my LinkedIn. Thank you for that, man.
Do it. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, look, this has been another episode of the Do As I Say, Not As I Did podcast. We'll see you all next week.